Today, I'm going to teach you 50 different collocations. That's coming up. Hey everyone, my name is Wes. This is Interactive English, which is all about helping you practice and improve your English skills. And today, it's all about helping you build your vocabulary because I am going to teach you 50 different collocations. And if you don't know what a collocation is, it is a word or phrase that is often followed by another word or phrase. And there are many different types of collocations, but in today's lesson, I want to teach you 50 different adjective noun collocations. So all of these phrases are adjectives that are commonly followed by different nouns. So let's begin with our first collocation using the adjective high. And you might hear people talk about high school. This is a time period in a person's education. You have middle school, high school, and then university. Or maybe somebody's talking about high ground, in which case you need to get to a higher or elevated position. Maybe there's a flood and somebody says, we need to get to high ground. Or high tech. This just means advanced technology. And you could say, wow, this stuff, it's really high tech. The technology is advanced. Or somebody could have high standards. And that means that they just want the best for themselves. And you could say, well, I have really high standards when it comes to food or when it comes to places to stay, hotels. You have high standards. Or a high degree of certainty. This means that you believe and you know that something is going to happen. Next, we have collocations with the adjective big. And we use this to really emphasize the noun that it's describing. For example, there could be a big mistake. And you're really trying to say that, wow, okay, this is a real problem and somebody made a big mistake. Or maybe there is a big surprise. It's not your normal surprise, it's a big surprise. You could also say something is a big deal. This emphasizes that this thing is very important, and you could say it's a big deal. A person may also need to make a big decision. This is talking about a very important decision, and you will often hear somebody say, look, I really have a big decision to make. It's very important. It's a big decision. And finally, you could hear somebody say big money, which means you're talking about a lot of money that may be coming your way, big money. The next adjective that I have for you is little. And you would hear this used with a variety of nouns such as little boy or little girl. This is just describing somebody's age perhaps, but you got to be careful. It may not be polite sometimes to call somebody a little boy or a little girl. You could also say little thought. In this case, somebody might say that, well, you gave this little thought. You really didn't think about it much. Or perhaps a little bit. This is talking about an amount. There is a little bit. Or little time. If you don't have a lot of time to do something, you could say, well, we have very little time. We need to get moving because we have little time. Then we have the adjective heavy. And you could say, well, somebody is a heavy drinker or a heavy smoker. It means that they do this a lot. Or maybe there is heavy traffic. If there are many cars on the road, you could describe that and say, wow, there's really heavy traffic today. Or perhaps there's heavy rain. And it means that it's raining a lot. If it's raining, if it's really coming down, you could describe it and say there's heavy rain. If you're out driving in the heavy rain, and there's heavy traffic, it's likely there will be a traffic jam. You could finally say that someone is a heavy sleeper. And this means that, well, once they go to sleep, you can make all the noise that you want because you are not going to wake this person up. They are a heavy sleeper. Now, because we just talked about heavy, then I think it's only appropriate that our next adjective is light. And we can use this to say the opposite of many of those that I just talked about. So instead of somebody being a heavy drinker or a heavy smoker, you could say that someone is a light drinker or a light smoker. You could say that someone is a light sleeper, in which case Any kind of noise would probably wake this person up. They're not a heavy sleeper, they are a light sleeper. I think I am more of a light sleeper. I wake up pretty easily at night if there is any kind of noise. So when I go to bed, I just want silence. You could also say light rain. If it's not raining that much outside, perhaps it's just starting to rain. It's not heavy rain, it's just a little light rain. You don't need your umbrella just yet because it's only a little light rain. If talking about wind, you could say that, well, there is a light breeze, that it's not, well, it's not very windy. It's just, well, there's a light breeze, which I think is kind of nice when you walk outside and there's a light breeze. And finally, you could say there is a light shade. And in this case, you're pretty much talking about a color, a light shade of red, or a light shade of blue, or a light shade of green, a light shade of some color. Then we have the adjective strong, which I think is a great adjective, and you can use this to describe many nouns. For example, you could say a strong argument. If you are debating with someone, you want to make sure that you are presenting a strong argument. You could also have a strong feeling about something, or maybe something you want, a strong desire. If talking about, well, the wind, instead of a light breeze, you could say there is a strong breeze or even a strong wind. We can also use it with the word evidence and say that there is strong evidence. Police, when they're trying to solve a crime, they're looking for strong evidence. You could also say that someone has a strong hand. And in this case, they're not really talking about your hands. You could be talking about cards. If you're playing cards, you have a hand of cards, and you could say you have a strong hand, but it could also be referring to somebody's position, that you have a position of power, and you could refer to that and say, well, right now I have a very strong hand. I'm in a very good position, a position of power. I have a strong hand. Another common way this adjective is used is when talking about a strong relationship. And this just means that, well, you could use it to talk about maybe a family member or your friends or even a romantic relationship, husband and wife, and you say, okay, we just have a strong relationship. We believe in each other. We trust each other. We have a strong relationship. I think that you and I, we have a strong relationship because you watch our video lessons, you write to me in the comments, which I love hearing from you. And because of that, I can say that we have a strong relationship, you and I. At least I hope we do. All right. The next adjective is deep. And we can use this with nouns such as deep thought, that you are really thinking about something, and you would say that somebody, they're in deep thought. They're really focused, and they're really trying to think about some serious topic. Or maybe somebody, you could describe a person and say that they have a deep voice, describing the way that they talk. So, for example, this is my deep voice, and it's really bad. That's a very terrible example, but you kind of get the idea. If you want to describe the way somebody sounds, their voice, you could say they have a deep voice. It's down here in the chest. You could also use it with sleep and say that somebody is in a deep sleep. Even if somebody is not a heavy sleeper, but they're so tired, they're just in a deep sleep. You could also say that somebody takes a deep breath. Or maybe you could describe a person and say that they are in a deep depression. They're very sad. It is a very intense depression. It is a deep depression. Another way you could use this adjective is deep down. And often I think somebody would say deep down inside, talking about a feeling that's deep down inside. Then we have the adjective fast, and you could say that, well, somebody gets off to a fast start. They begin, but they do so quickly, and they get a fast start. You could also describe a person and say that, well, he or she is a fast talker. You could, well, let's continue describing people, and you could say that someone is fast asleep. If this person is sleeping, you can use this expression and say, well, they're fast asleep. They're sleeping soundly. They're fast asleep. You may also hear somebody talk about a fast pace, that you need to move kind of quickly and continuously, and you might need to keep a fast pace. Another very common collocation would be fast food. I think all of us are familiar with different fast food restaurants. And I could also say that someone, perhaps you, I could say that you are a fast learner, that you watch these video lessons and you are building your vocabulary because you are a fast learner. You learn quickly. And well, quick is the next adjective that I want to talk about because it's a little similar to fast, but we use it with different nouns. For example, we could use it with the word glance and say quick glance to really describe something that you saw for just a very, very short period of time, and you just got a quick glance. You looked at it, and then and that's it. That's a quick glance right there. You could also say that you're going to get a quick bite, in which case you're talking about you're going to eat. You're going to get something to eat very quickly. You're just going to grab a quick bite to eat. Or maybe you want to get a quick shower. You're telling somebody that, well, you need to shower. You're not going to spend a long time in there. You're just going to get a quick shower. And during a presentation, somebody might give you a quick recap. They're going to review whatever they just said, and they're going to do it quickly. They're going to give you a quick recap. Or perhaps a person might need to make a quick decision. When you really have to think fast, you don't have a lot of time, you need to make a quick decision. Now let's move, well, more to the opposite meaning and talk about the adjective slow. And we can use it with nouns such as, well, growth or progress. I think quite often you would hear it used with these nouns when talking about perhaps the work that somebody's doing, or you might say, well, we're making slow progress. We're not going very fast. We didn't get off to a fast start, and right now we're just making slow progress. And because of that, the company, the business is experiencing slow growth. I'm sure many of you have heard it with the word motion and talking about slow motion to describe the way, well, somebody is moving or something that you're watching, that things were moving in slow motion. I'm just going to move on to the next collocation and talk about a slow day. And if somebody says that, well, it's a slow day, it just means it's not very busy. I often think people would use this collocation when talking about work, that they're not very busy at their job, and they say, today it was a slow day. And you could also use it to describe a person and say that someone is a slow learner, that they're not a fast learner. It takes them a little more time to understand and comprehend different things. You could say, well, they're a slow learner. I think sometimes with many things, I am a bit of a slow learner. I really like to take my time, and quite often I need to review things and do it numerous times before I understand. So I could say, yeah, I'm a slow learner, but that's okay. I don't expect you to watch this lesson and remember every single one of these collocations for the rest of your life. It's all about getting exposure, reading, listening, and then practicing, because that is the best way to build your vocabulary and remember these phrases. And that's what I want to do right now. I want to practice using some of these collocations. I'm going to give you a sentence and the adjective is missing. The first sentence that I have for you is, I need you to make a decision. I need you to make a decision. Which adjective are you going to use? I hope you said, I need you to make a quick decision. When you have to think fast, you need to make a quick decision. The next one is, even though our neighbor threw a party, I didn't wake up because I am a sleeper. Even though our neighbor had a party, I didn't wake up because I am a sleeper. In this case, I hope that you said heavy, a heavy sleeper. You can just sleep through anything, including your neighbor's party. Then we have, I'm going to Vegas and I hope to win some money this weekend. I'm going to Vegas and I hope to win some money this weekend. If you're going to Vegas and you're going to gamble, of course you want to win some big money. I'm going to Vegas and I hope to win some big money this weekend. The next sentence is, scientists believe that the climate will continue to change with a degree of certainty. I think you should remember this one. Scientists believe that climate will continue to change with a degree of certainty. I hope that you said high. We're talking about a high degree of certainty that somebody, well, they're pretty sure that this is going to happen. And finally, I would tell you the sentence, and I would say, I think you are a learner. And I really do. I think you are a learner. And of course, you should have said fast, all right? I don't think you're a slow learner. I think you are a fast learner. And I think if you continue to read, if you continue to listen, if you continue to watch these video lessons, that is going to help you build your vocabulary. It's going to help you remember these different collocations, and that is then going to help you improve your overall English fluency. If you enjoyed this lesson, please hit that like button. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.